the potential dogs that could completely lose their mind at any given moment. I forget the.
This is reminding me of the old Monty Python Holy Grail, the Killer Rabbit sketch.
Yeah. There are some ferocious Yorkie pictures all over the internet, especially on YouTube. It's definitely worth it. But she was definitely not.
You're in trouble. You are grounded.
This Yorkie apparently was psycho, like that cute little dog from Something About Mary that was hopped up on speed. Apparently, that's what this dog was like. And now this poor dog, when it's in its stroller, has to wear a muzzle. But ferocious Yorkie was like suddenly like trending on Twitter. There's like accounts now. People have changed their avatars to ferocious Yorkie.
Oh my God!
I've scarred this type of dog. Let's be honest. Like, I will never, ever, ever buy a Yorkie.
No, you never will.
No,
and nor will I.
I think everybody out there that owns a Yorkie better keep their head on a swivel and walk that dog.
Yorkie head on a swivel.
That freaking dog could just explode at any given moment.
I can't believe we just had the phrases ferocious Yorkie and head on a swivel in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, man. From Zeke Boyette, how many Avs fans do you think you've blocked on Twitter?
Must be a good amount because they don't bother me nearly as much as they used to. Every now and then I'll see one. I've tried to really lower my block count. It takes a lot to get blocked by me now. Like, now it's like, I just mute people. Hopefully nobody out there, I'm sure, that's listening right now has been muted by me. But I try not to. It really takes a lot. Like, there's just one jackass that and actually I kind of looked at his account the other day, and he's such a nut job that he actually, and I know you're listening to this, he actually deleted like 3-4 months of just crazy negative nut job tweets that he's started that he sends to everybody. Everybody's on his list. Richard Deitch is big time on his list. Lavelle. You're not really there. Pat Nicoletti, LaPanta.
Did I just block him a long time
Hockey
ago?
Wilderness. They go after him all the time. Just he follows nobody anymore because I was the only one that he followed, and I've since blocked him. And he's got like 3 followers.
So we really shouldn't be wasting any time on him, in other words.
Yeah, no. But so he's the last one, and that was like a month and a half ago. So that just shows you how.
See,
I've
you've
calmed
disconnected.
down.
You've become a mellow human being.
Yeah.
You've gone to Cancun.
Yeah.
You're so cool.
Don't worry, Zeke. I will not block or mute you or anybody else that listens to this podcast.
I block everybody. From Tony Hoaglund, any guy that got 100 points out of this roster would be my guy. Tony Hoaglund weighing in on how he thinks Bruce Boudreau did a good job last year.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more about what you did in Cancun.
Pretty much the same thing every single day. Woke up, went to breakfast, went to the gym, went to the steam room and jacuzzi, went to the relaxation room and didn't relax. And then I went and had lunch.
They should just rename the stress room when you're in there.
Went to the pool, then went back to the spa, and then ate dinner and just hung out with a bunch of people. Sat on my patio and drank wine and smoked a cigar even though there's no smoking signs everywhere.
Oh, man. You are a rebel, Michael
I know.
Russo. You really are. Hey, if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the shows around the network, we have the Cheryl Reeve show that's doing very well. The Viking show is doing very well. I really love our basketball show with John Krasinski and our baseball show with Roy Smalley. Some of the shows are getting close to being sold out, but we will always fit you in. If you want to be a part of the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Podcasts are taking off. Check out the recent articles in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, everything else. We are on the front end of a really cool thing, and we have the best people in town. I think we have the best listening experience in town. Also, one other thing, if you are going to listen, we prefer that you download. It's a better listening experience. You aren't subject to Wi-Fi going in and out, and it's also better for our business.
Cancun, also they're like inundated with seaweed now. It's
Really?
unbelievable. Google it. So the beaches were just an absolute mess.
Oh, no.
And blanketed with just brown, gross seaweed.
Well, that's a huge thing there.
Yeah,
because
I only left the hotel a couple times. One to go to that dinner at that steakhouse. One I went on a little snorkeling adventure in these mangroves. So that was kind of neat.
Tell me, is there anything else hockey related we should talk about this week?
No, I talked to Fenton. He did tell me that he will at the right time go visit Kaprizov. But right now, I mean, he is, again, anything's subject to change. But right now, he's looking forward to getting his eyes on this roster for the first time. It's suddenly real. Guys are trickling back into town slowly. A lot of the married guys with kids in school are really going to start coming back here in the next couple weeks. And so he just really wants to see what this roster has going for it. He wants to see the health of guys like Suter and Cunnin, but he's excited. This is a roster that's made the playoffs 6 straight years, and so if they can get off to a good start, then it gives him more information to potentially make a move down the pike. But this is new for him, running his own team, and at this point in the summer, he just wants to get his eyes on him. Hockey wise. I think we talked about the lines on the last show, but again, I'm going to actually be with Bruce later today, so maybe I'll have more information on Tuesday about this team. But I think that I'm pretty accurate on my lines. Again, I think it's going to be Zucker, Granlund, and Stahl on your top line, Parisi, Koivu with Niederreiter or Greenway on your second line, or whatever you want to call your second line, Greenway, Niederreiter, Eriksson Ek, and Coyle on your third line, and then your fourth line, a mix of Eric Fair, Marcus Foligno, Matt Hendricks, and JT Brown. And so the question I have is, does Greenway, is he anointed and given a roster spot, or does he earn it? And if he earns it in camp, that's awesome. Or if he's just, kind of like Eriksson Ek last year had to make the team. They just talked about it to the point that you just figured he was on the team. I hope that's not the case with Greenway. He's got to earn it. And if Greenway's outplayed in camp by Cunnin, then he should make the team. If Greenway and Cunnin are outplayed by Matt Reed or Kyle Rao or whoever, then they should make it. And that's what and again, I'll not use an old Chuck Fletcher line, but your opening night roster doesn't mean you made the team.
Right.
They're going to change it. By the way, I mean, one thing that I guarantee, I'm going to ask Bruce this today, but I guarantee, at the end of camp, they're going to have a lot of roster moves where all of a sudden they'll have like 25 guys up. It would not shock me if when they go to Colorado for that final exhibition game, if like 10 guys are called up for that game. There is no chance that they are in their final preseason game in advance of playing Colorado in their season opener only 4 or 5 days later, going to play their lineup. So this year, their opening night lineup will probably be played in the second to last preseason game at home. There's just no chance that he's going to go on a plane and bring all these guys to play their biggest rival or one of their biggest rivals right before you could potentially play them in a game that really matters. So that's something else I'm going to talk to him about is again, you're going to have guys that are going to be cut early in camp that are all of a sudden going to suddenly wind up playing in that game, I bet. But I'll confirm that with him today.
Let's go to Michael for a final thought. Do want to thank Dulonos Pizza, downtown Minneapolis, Twill in the Edina Galleria, the fine men's clothing store that also has lots of cool casual stuff. Whizkids.tech. Check them out at Whizkids.it on Twitter. Fixologyrepair.com. And Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Just one more note on Dulonos Pizza. It is just a great location. It is 118 North 4th Street. That's 4th with a number 4. 118 North 4th Street, Minneapolis. Check them out at DulonosPizza.com. Dulonos Pizza on Twitter. And again, they deliver pretty much everywhere. And they have lunch specials, happy hours, everything. They've been around 60 years. Great local institution that we are really proud to be working with. Michael, final thought.
That's really it for Twitter questions, huh?
Yeah,
slow day.
Slow day. Slow time of the year.
Yeah.
So that's why we talked about so much.
What do you think of this
stuff.
freaking loser from the Marlins yesterday
Horrible.
throwing at is Acuna?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, here's a guy that's like, it reminds me of, remember when Jason Zucker had like goals and like, he had like 6 straight wild goals? 7. Here's a guy that is like major league history with how hot he is. Leading off games with home runs, 8 homers in his last 6 or 7 games, lead off homers in 3 straight games. And this piece of crap from the Marlins opens up a game by plunking the guy on his left elbow to the point that he actually hurt him.
Horrible.
Like, what a moron. And you know what? Don Mattingly should be accountable for that. And I love Don Mattingly.
Yeah, but you're right.
Like, I mean, what an absolute asswipe.
And this is where baseball needs to just say, okay, you know what? You're out for a month. You're suspended for a month.
I mean,
You're suspended the rest of the season.
It's just a horrible thing for the sport.
Yes.
You have all these fans that came all excited to watch this guy, see if he could do it again, and you are such a gutless piece of crap that you plunk the guy on his elbow. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, and this is the problem with baseball.
And then he throws his freaking glove down like, yeah, man. Like, and his excuse is that I'm such a wild pitcher that I led the league in hit batsmen. Like, that's your excuse that, every other start I plunk a guy.
It's baseball can be a great sport, but it can also be a really backwards, stupid sport.
Yeah.
And this is an example of the stupidity of so many baseball players who think because somebody told them when they're 8 years old that there are all these unwritten rules about baseball and you got to be tough and you got to prove who's a man. It's all this macho.
Yeah, you know what? How you prove a man? Throw the ball to the guy and get him out. Let's see if you could break his
Play
streak.
the game. Get him out.
Freaking! I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Frankly, to me, the parallel is gooning it up in hockey. Okay, here's this great score for the other team. I'm going to go beat him up because that helps my team.
And that doesn't happen. There's an error. I mean, now the problem is that where the guys that aren't purists or they're the ones that don't like fighting when it's like, stage fights or fourth liners. But it's not like the old days where you had the guy going out there to protect the Mikhail Granlunds of the world or things like that. Like, that doesn't exist. The other thing is, back in the day, man, I mean, when I was growing up watching hockey and definitely well before, there were bench clearing brawls and bench clearing every single night.
Yep.
And that doesn't happen anymore. And it's why? Because the league took care of it.
Yeah.
And baseball needs to take care of this by sending a freaking message to the Marlins. Everything. I mean, Mattingly, freaking fine Jeter, all these. I mean, it's disgusting what this guy did. It really is.
No question
and he
about
injured
it.
him.
And that's the amazing thing is that hockey, which is probably the most traditional of sports, has actually evolved more than baseball in a lot of ways.
Yeah. No doubt.
Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. Obviously, the season, we'll get to more hockey talk as the season gets closer. We'll have a lot more information to talk about. Sometimes we like to do kind of an offbeat type show like this one. Thanks for the Twitter questions. And check out the rest of the shows around the talknorth.com network. We'll talk to you next week from Dulonos, 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday night, August 21st.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world